After examining the syllabus and its course description, objectives, requirements, reading and writing assignments, as well as my discussion posts, there is a clear story about women in regards to gender, race, and sex within society. The story about women in society under the umbrella of gender, sex, and race has been a dominating discussion and debate over the many decades in our country. Now, in 2019, I will provide insight into all of these topics through the eyes of a 22-year-old white male. Being male, I will never be able to fully understand what it's like to be a woman in society. However, my voice can be a useful tool in supporting women and their movements of gender equality in the workplace. My voice can be powerful because I am a male and can potentially gain supporters that are also male. I contributed to many things in the class to help them understand the course materials in a more cohesive way by providing specific examples of my experiences working in Home Depot. I cited one of the last points from the Reading Women's Lives, an Introduction to Women's Studies article. Quote, "The speedy success of our cause depends upon the zealous and untiring efforts of both men and women for the overthrow of the monopoly of the pulpit, and for the securing of women an equal participation with men in the various trades, professions, and commerce." End quote. Working at Home Depot, I often see the differences in participation between men and women associates. Many times is the stereotypical men doing the heavy lifting. All too often do I see men entering a situation and taking over for the women, no questions asked. Noticing this, I have found myself in similar situations lifting 5-gallon buckets. However, I do not feel the need to take over when my co-associate women are doing this task. I do not ask if they need help because I do not want to come across as being condescending towards them. I only offer my assistance if I see them struggling, and oftentimes will perform the task together instead of me being the macho man and doing it all by myself. By providing the class with a real-world example that I see every day in my work environment, we might gain a better way to pick up on these things that occur every day, and to learn, if you are a man especially, not to patronize women when going about their daily lives in any kind of scenario. This course fits perfectly with what Alexis Shotwell argues from the open normativities, gender, disability, and the collection Political Change reading. Shotwell describes that, quote, "An important part of the relational formation of gender involves the role of individuals and the gender rationalized systems we instantate precisely through our adjectival subjectivities," end quote. We have learned and discussed gender in several ways, and one of the major things that I took away from it was that gender is not simply defined. There is no common law definition of gender. It is unique, different, and special to the individual. The reading by Michael S. Kimmel, Masculinity as Homophobia, explored masculinity and helped me to understand the social constructions of gender and sexual identity as two related but distinct social identities by explaining that culture is what defines what it means to be a man in today's society. Quote, "We come to know what it means to be a man in our culture and our society by setting our definitions in opposition to a set of others, racial minorities, sex minorities, and above all, women," end quote. Culture is the only determinant in deciding how the roles of men and women are defined, instead of the definitions being completely up to the individual. The reading by Monique Wittig, One is Not Born a Woman, explores the concept of women as a sex identity, helping to understand the social constructions of gender and sex identity as two related but distinct social identities by explaining that, quote, "Matriarchy is no less heterosexual than patriarchy. It is only the sex of the oppressor that changes. The idea that the capacity to give birth, biology, is what defines a woman," end quote. "Both men and women are equals. One sex is not superior or inferior to the other." I agree with Wittig about what defines a woman. The main difference is neither good or bad that separates men and women is the biological ability to give birth. This course provided me a way to explore how others identify themselves and their backgrounds, as well as providing me with insights to my own social profile. We as a society have come a long way in terms of recognizing people with differences in gender, sexual orientation, and equality among men and women. We still have a long way to go. There are still discrimination such as the gender wage gap. Being a 22-year-old male, I will continue to use my voice as a powerful tool for sticking up for the oppressed minorities and women in my place of work, school, and my everyday life.